Hello everybody, in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys what you can do with your bone slimes for some extra money. Now how we make money from the bony slimes is their plorts. Now if we rip them up, we can get 4 bones that we can be using for, like the dusty slimes and whatnot. Bone blocks which can be turned into just bone meal. But bone meal doesn't really make you money, but you can use it for flowers and such to duplicate them. But enriched bone meal, 16 of them at a 20% chance. Now, if we go press U while hovering over it, you can see there's a few things that we can use this thing on, specifically glowberries, the ripwort, the nettle, the cherry, and the apple. Now, for these guys, you have to do it during their season or else it won't work. But for a flat rate, the nettle, the ripwort, and the glowberries, you can get 384 every time you hit that 16 stack or the 16 enriched bone meal. Now, since there's a 20% chance, if you did divide that by 5, it's still worth 76 gold, so regardless, you're still profiting just ripping up the bony plorts instead of selling them in the store. Now, these are all of them right here. You just right-click on it, and then you get one. Same thing with the other ones, and then same with these guys, but again, they can only be harvested during their season. Now, glowberries have a problem. So for instance, if you were manually to do this, right, and you just spam-clicked a bunch, you'll get everything back, right? 64. But with glowberries, if I do the same thing, I only got a portion back. So somewhere along the lines, when you're right-clicking it and clicking it again, you're losing a bone meal. So the way to fix this is we automate it. Now this is the basic contraption that I thought would work with the glowberries, but how it works is this. If I have 2 enriched bone meal, put it in here. There's nothing in this chest. You can see we have 2 going in, it touches it, it turns on, we used 1, and then it's going to go slowly once more. And you can see it used it again. So we used 2 for 1, which is kind of bad. But if you made something like this, which, I mean, it's a lot more work because you got to put all the cogs, whatnot. Everything's working at 128 stress. But you got this guy that will just, for instance, deposit it. If I put say 10, right? Let me make sure nothing's in here. If I put 10 in here, it'll be used and then picked. So that way it's always like a 1-to-1. And there you go. We got 10 out of 10. Now this is only for the glowberries, but if you wanted it simpler, you could just do it like so, where you have a sophisticated chest with a magnet in it, and then you would literally just deposit a hopper inside of it, and then you would just fill it. You can put a filter just so it would only grab that. And honestly, you probably could just set this chest with a magnet instead, because you have a filter on it so it won't put this inside its hand whatsoever. But, same idea. You place the enriched in there, it does it, it drops it, and then it gets picked up over and over and over again. Now, for the best use of them, it just depends on what you want. For instance, glowberries, you can turn them into gems for 72. So you're profiting 48 gold every single time, an additional, but you have to wait 8 minutes. Now, I think the best one to use is going to be apple leaves. Now, you can buy the apple tree from the market pretty cheap. You will need a shear to just, get all the apple leaves. You really realistically only need 1, but if you want to make more deployers, you can do that. Now, the best thing I still think is going to be apples. If you press U while hovering over it, you can make apple pies worth 716. Now, I think you can actually get a boost of 10% going down the top path right here. They're worth slightly more, but if you were to just buy all the ingredients, for instance, you don't have a cow, well, you can buy a large milk and turn it into small milk. That's 64 each, as well as the sugar. If you don't have sugar cane, you can buy sugar for 16 gold each. So you're spending 96 gold for every single apple pie. So you're technically profiting 620 gold if you were to make the apple pie. Now, obviously, yeah, you can sell the wheat and whatnot, but for the sake of it, I'm not going to calculate all that. We're just going to talk about you're making an additional, I think 344 gold profit if you were to just make the apple pie instead of individually selling the wheat, the apples, the sugar, and whatnot. So you're still profiting money just making it. Now, what you can do is instead of it being locked in only autumn and whatnot, you can make greenhouse glass on top and it will work. So, for instance, here you go. We're in springtime and we just grew an apple. Now, does it harvest? The answer is yes. Now, if you don't remember how you make a greenhouse glass, it's pretty cheap. Seeing as you don't really need many, you can just, depending on like what you want, right? 1,000 gold, organic glass if you have the thing, and whatnot. Especially for these guys, if you want a bunch of earth crystals and fire quartz, I strongly recommend everybody going down the mining path and getting the mineralogist, finding ore. So for instance, if you are in the overworld mining nodes or in the skull cavern, you can get an additional earth crystals, or if you're in the nether, mining quartz, you're gonna get a boatload of fire quartz or fire crystals, whatever they're called. So I recommend doing this for your apples because again, you don't need many. You can just have this set up and it'll just constantly keep going over and over and over. So one should be more than enough. For the build, you can do it, either like this, water wheel like that, or a water wheel underneath. Both work perfectly fine. It's just your aesthetics. For instance, to make this one, you just put blocks too high water wheel. And I just prefer to do blocks kind of like around it. And then you want to break that one, put a water bucket, and then it should just go in the hole. And then you can just delete the blocks around it except the one in the back. Now, if you are in a winter area, remember your water will freeze and then this will break. So be careful of that. But frankly, this is as simple as this. Now, you can theoretically just put your deployer right next to it. And that is it, and it will work. Now, if you want to extend it, you just make shafts, right? And one of these guys, if you didn't want to do that, you can go, I think it's like 8 away. Yeah, so what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can have 8 deployers off one water wheel. Now, of course, you can speed this up and the individual water deployer will be faster. But you got nothing but time in this farm game, so you can do it as you will. But like now you would just, again, place it up top like so. And then theoretically, right, because it's 8 long or whatever, and then the chest's range, the magnet specifically is 5 one way, 5 other, we could just place the chest, like right in the middle. And like that will be, say, the magnet one. That will just pick everything up. And you just need one. It's very cheap to make these magnets. You just press R on it and it tells you. You just make this charm, zinc, 1 fire quartz, and a lapis with the 5 zinc. But yeah, this one chest will be able to pick everything up. Now the only problem is you will have to, place a thing for each one. Or you set up a pipe system, whichever one is easier for you. Because you could do something like this, right? And it all goes from this chest right so. And you will need a wrench. And you just shift, click, and then that way it is going to be depositing its stuff into there. So then if we were to now grab our enriched bone meal, that you had stacks of them, right? You may want to put like a stack thing there. But it will just slowly go into these guys, right? Now, it will probably work better if it was individualed. Or if you have the upgrade for this thing itself, the advanced pipe upgrade, but it is a bit expensive, but you can just right click it, place it in there, and then it will start moving 16 items every 20 ticks instead of the 1 item. But that way it is sufficient. But it's just an idea. Hoppers work perfectly fine. You just need individual chests for each one with hopper with it as well. Kind of like this setup right over here. But yeah, that was it. And I'll see you guys again in the next one. I hope this helped out with what you can do with your enriched bone meal. So happy playing and I'll see you guys in the next one.